On this special episode of The Skybox, we're going to tap into the men and women's basketball team of the USA. We're going to sit back and talk about how KD saved the USA men's basketball team against Serbia, especially in the first half when he scored 21 and went 8 for 8. We're also going to talk about the expectations that both the men's and the women's basketball have this year in Paris. And we're then going to talk about how we need to appreciate what we're seeing right now. This could be the end of a few legacies. That and a lot more. And with that being said, you already know what to do. Cue the music. Welcome to The Skybox, where we give our epic perspective in an imperfect sports world. Now let me introduce you to the coach panel in the game. You already know if I stick out my arms like this, there's only one guy that's right there with me. My guy. You already know who he is, Daryl T. What's good with you, fella?
Here, what up?
You already know I got the coldest panel in the game. You already know I got the coldest podcast in the game. So you already know what you need to do. Hit that like and subscribe button. It's only $3.99. Let's just get this thing started. Let's get this thing started right now. Let's get this thing started. We're talking about the appreciation that we have for the men and women basketball team. Daryl, KD went out there, went 8 for 8, 21 points. With the throbbing of Serbia. And looking at that, watching how KD went out there, it seemed like the U.S. men's basketball team were totally different teams. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I think KD added a different dynamic to the team. I think Kevin Durant is kind of what Charles Barkley was to the Dream Team back in the day. You know what I mean? A solid starter at that point. You know what I mean? Everybody knew he was going towards the Hall of Fame in regards to Barkley. Everybody know that, you know what I mean, Kevin Durant's bust might as well already be made. But to be the number one Olympian in points of all time, that's another mark on KD's record that he actually kind of needs, because them 2 championships counted but didn't count. But, you know what I mean, salute to KD, though. He went out there and he was that needed spark to put them over the edge. But that's a team that's just filled with talent up and down.
So when you look at all that, I mean, with KD having an unbelievable performance, there was one performance that never really happened. And that's the DNP with Jason Tatum. What's your thoughts about that?
I mean, I think the disrespect with Tatum is real. I think that's just something that happened to happen. I think that wasn't Steve Kerr's intention to not play him in the game. I think if you look at Tyrese Halliburton, my man was like a bench warrior. He was up there. He was just glad that he was there. But Jason Tatum, you could see it in his face that he knew he didn't deserve to not play any minutes, and I don't think he did either. In the last 3 years, he's an all-NBA guy. He just won the championship. He was some people thought he was the Finals MVP. And he's been at the top of his game for like 5-6 years. Not only his game, but the top of the NBA. So I think next game they're gonna make it a point to give Tatum just like a few extra minutes as an apology move. You know what I mean? I think it's only right.
What's your expectations when it comes down to the U.S. men's basketball team for the Olympics this year?
So I remember back in 1992, their expectation was gold because they said that's the greatest basketball team that was ever put together. seems like until 2024. I think the team that we're seeing right now might be the greatest basketball team that was ever put together. Even if you take out Derek White and you put who's supposed to be in there, whether it be Kawhi Leonard or Jaylen Brown, up and down that team, it's from the centers, power forwards, the small forwards, the shooting guards. They're dudes. If they're not the best in the league, they're in the top 2 and 3 in every single category, even at coach. So I expect nothing less than gold. If I see silver, that you might as well have lost. And that's just based on basketball and how far we are just in regards to today's game, how far we should be.
So it's not even far-fetched to look at, because it started at when you were just talking about it, the comparison to the dream team and this team. So it's not far-fetched to saying that this team is either better than the dream team or definitely comparable to the dream team.
I don't think there's a comparison, because I think what people are going to say is they're going to say whatever 3 players from the 2020, but then they're going to be like Jordan, Magic, and Bird, and they're going to say it without context. Magic had retired a year beforehand. Bird was dealing with back pains that put him in retirement about a year later. This wasn't Bird from '84 and Magic from '82. You know what I mean? These players, like in that current state, you know what I mean? They're just not seeing them. Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, and Karl Malone. I got Joel Embiid, Bam, and AD. I'm like, I don't even know why we're, you know what I mean? And then I got KD with the 7 foot. You know what I mean? This isn't even fair. No one's guarding Bron. Who's guard? What, Clyde Drexler or Devin Booker? What are we talking about here? Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, looking at the way you're breaking this down, it seems like now we need to start having appreciation for this era that's starting to come to an end. Let's look down the list a little bit with LeBron James, 39 years old, one if not the greatest basketball player of all time. He wins a gold. The GOAT talk gets even louder. Next, Steph Curry. Steph Curry with the gold medal now has already created a legacy, but now he's starting to cement a legacy. Looking at a youngster that, me personally, I say he's one of them ones. He's probably the next face of the NBA, Anthony Edwards. He gets a goal. I really feel he's taking that back to Minnesota with the goal, and a new attitude is going to take the Minnesota Timberwolves to a whole different level. The one player I think would be very impactful for winning a goal would be Joel Embid. He gets a taste of what it feels like to be a champion. I think he takes that back to the Philadelphia 76ers, and he takes that fuel and possibly take the Philadelphia 76ers to the next level. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, that's the level that the Sixers are headed for. I think Joel Embiid in the Olympics, from the outside looking in, it seemed like I don't know if he won him in some extra games, but you know what I mean, it seems like it's doing good for him. He's around a lot of champions, a lot of people that know what it takes. If he's smart, he's just picking their brain right now and trying to get all the information that he can in regards to people that have been to the top of the mountain, people that have done it. You can even see other people in the team that aren't even part of the Olympic team or you see Tyrese Maxey, he's getting a little jacked right now. He's getting a little big on him. I know Paul George is hungry too, but I think like that mixed with Joel Embiid's taste of success and taste of, you know what I mean? The gold medal similar to the world championship, not to the same level, but I mean just a small level below. And that's a lot of basketball players' hopes and dreams right there, to be on the USA team and to represent their country in the Olympics. And to get to that level, not only to get to that level, but to get to that gold medal stage, I think that's going to be good for them.
I agree. I sure enough agree. Let's turn the table just a little bit slightly. Let's go to the U.S. women's basketball team. Let's have an appreciation for what we're seeing with them. And it seems like we just, as a world, are starting to open the door of something that has been going on for over 40-something years. But now as we open that door, we're starting to notice that the U.S. women's basketball team hasn't lost in almost 32 years. 3 decades plus 2 years. That is more than a lot of people that are on that even knew that women's basketball was existing. We got now, it's to the point they have people looking back at the past of like Taurasi, like they're looking at now like A'ja Wilson. They're looking at Brittany Griner. The youngsters are now coming out like Caitlin Clark, like Angel Reese, and a bunch of other more. They're all coming out. And then now that we have these girls coming out and playing basketball, the appreciation of women's basketball has skyrocketed astronomically. What's your thoughts, Bill?
I think in regards to women's basketball, we make the comparison to try to compare directly to men's basketball. I mean, maybe as far as the creation of the game, basketball has been around for, the same amount of time, but I feel like the maturation process of the game between men and women have taken a little longer than expected. But I feel like the women right now are kind of where the men were in like 1992, where the dominating of the game comes from the lack of the world playing the game rather than just the dominating of the United States. I feel like women's basketball has turned a corner over the past year or two, the same way that the NBA turned a corner back in the early 80s when Magic faced Larry Bird in a collegiate rivalry, the most watched NCAA finals game of all time. And then I think with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, that's similar to that, where that collegiate rivalry kind of spilled over to the WNBA and it gave it a burst of energy that it didn't have before. So I feel like the popularity of the WNBA and women's basketball as a whole is just starting to hit that spark. It hit that next tier. And I feel like in the next 10 to 15 years, not saying the world's going to align with them, but I feel like the world is going to start to catch up because the WNBA's popularity is doing the same thing with the NBA right now.
I sure enough agree with that. And it's even more that we're looking at the appreciation of the past and what they like. We're looking at Cheryl Miller, Cheryl Swoops. Like we're starting to even turn around and look at what they did and how they have like paved the way for these girls now. And it's a beautiful thing to watching what women's basketball is and what it's becoming.
Cheryl Miller will probably end up being like the Bill Russell of the game. Maybe not in regards to championship, but in regards to just like that true, like that's foundational legacy of women's basketball. Everybody know Reggie didn't hold a candle to his sister, bro. She was working them 100-point high school games. She was a beast.
You ain't never lied. With that said, I thank you for watching the Skybox exclusively on YouTube. If you have any thoughts, questions, or concerns, email us at the1skybox@gmail.com. I am Michael C. Of the light over the mic. I got the coldest panel in the game. I got Daryl T, and I got the rest of them later. But you already know what you got to do. Just leave you with these 4 words. Now let's make it epic. Let's make this epic. If you like this episode, you should see who we think is going to be the next face of the NBA.